All right. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a great pleasure for International Council for Circular Economy to hold the launch of our Journal on Circular Economy. A very warm welcome to all of you. I'm Mrs. Anil, and it is a matter of extreme honor for me to host this launch today. Uh, Before I move ahead, I would like to welcome all of our guest speakers and the guest of honor today. Thank you so much for joining us. This journal is a joint effort of the Indian Plastics Institute, IPI, and ICCE. The journal is an effort to bring international news, business cases, book reviews, expert opinions, policy reviews, papers, as well as research papers to create better understanding on this subject. Before I invite our chief guest to release the launch, on behalf of ICC, I would like to extend my gratitude to Mr. Amitabh Kant for giving us time for the key interview in the journal. I would like to thank Professor Anil Sahasrabudhe for writing the foreword and to Dr. Pankaj Mittal for writing the preface of the journal. I would also like to thank Padmashri Rajgopalan Vasudevan and Ambassador T.P. Srinivasan for giving their expert opinions in the journal. Of course, authors have been a real motivation and key in establishing the journal, and we hope it becomes one of the best journals for publication in the subject of circular economy. I thank the author in considering and trusting ICC as a platform for publishing their valuable work. I also thank all authors for the kind cooperation extended during the various stages of processing of the articles in the journal. I would then like to thank our Honorable Advisory Committee and the Working Committee of the journal. For the success of any journal, reviewers are an essential part, and therefore the reviewers merit sincere appreciation. It was with the mere cooperation, enthusiasm, and spirit of all of these humble individuals that we could come up with this journal. And of course, it would not be appropriate if I fail to mention the tireless efforts of Ms. Shalini Goyal Bhalla and Mr. Sriman Banerjee towards this journal. Without any further ado, I would like to take this opportunity to welcome our honorable chief guest, the chairman of the All India Council for Technical Education, AICTE, Professor Anil Sahasrabudhe, to release the journal. His presence here today is indeed a blessing for us. He is a professor of mechanical engineering at the Indian Institute of Technology, Guwahati, and has held several important academic, research, and administrative positions at the Indian Institute of Science, Tata Consulting Engineers, a Northeastern Regional Institute of Science and Technology, and IIT Guwahati. So it's an honor to have you with us today, and we now request you to officially release the journal.
So will there be any clicking of the button or just making an announcement?
I'll share a video here so you can make an announcement and we can play the video.
So I declare the journal to be inaugurated on circular economy, and I hope
Oh, thank you so much, sir, for releasing the journal. It's an honor and pride for all of us. Sir, we know how important it is for the people to learn more on the concept of circular economy. So would you like to share with the audience your views on the importance of this journal and the overall growing importance of circular economy in India?
yeah, thank you, Susanna, for that introduction and this release function, which is so important for all of us. I miss Sri Amitabh Kant ji. I expected that he would be launching this journal today, but he has always been associated, has been supporting this particular activity all time. So my best wishes to him as well. And Madam Shalini Bhalla, who has been often coming to AICTE on various counts, and who has been also one of the important persons to make this happen. And therefore, my greetings to her as well. And then all of you, Sriman Banerjee, Professor Pandey, Shilpi Kapur, and most importantly, Dr. Pankaj Mittal, who stand for the Association of Indian Universities. So all the universities in the country who are the members of this particular body, AIU, this will reach out to all of them, and that's why her presence here is also very, very important. And there are large number of women who are associated in this whole activity, and that is very significant because when we talk about circular economy or the United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals, if there is a role of woman, that will have a multiplier effect, and that is what is observed in most of the things, right from our kitchens to the household. What we talk about circular economy is practiced day in and day out, more by women than men, and therefore their presence here is very, very valuable and important. Then this particular aspect of circular economy is talked about world over, and we wanted education in circular economy to be available. And Shalini had written a book, and which was again launched by Amitabh Kant himself, and which was available. But I told her that we need a course which is teachable to our students and faculty alike in our universities and colleges, and therefore a MOOC course is in order. And on my request, she created a MOOC course which is already launched in our Swayam portal. People can learn essentials of what is all meant by circular economy through that particular course. But meanwhile, we were discussing, and she said we also would like that we must have a journal on circular economy. This is very significant and important because it is not just understanding the concept, making use of it, applying in different fields, but a journal where a lot of research which is happening on this particular area, people will get an opportunity to publish those papers. And thereby we learn from each other. Journals are the location or places where people will put in their work and the others will follow up with that and then do something more. And research is an ongoing process. There is no end to it. So what today we are doing probably will become irrelevant tomorrow by someone else doing something little more better than what we have been doing today. And that's why this particular effort, which has been undertaken by both ICCE and Indian Plastics Institute, IPI, is a grand initiative of creating a platform for researchers, be it in engineering domain, be it in science domain, be it in terms of people in the humanities and social sciences. Everyone's life is touched by circular economy, and be it economists by themselves. So I think, therefore, a platform where people can write articles based on their research work will make available this particular knowledge, new knowledge, to all others, and that's why it was important. There are a large number of possible case studies. Many students in their respective areas would have undertaken project work. We have under BTech and masters, and even in medical field or many other fields, there is a mandatory 6 month long to sometimes 1 year long project. Architecture students spend 1 year in internship. So all these kind of efforts which are ongoing in different fields, how they can get connected with what we call it as circular economy, and those case studies can be brought forward into the research journal. Thirdly, many people would start now writing books. Shalini, you started that, but there will be many others who will be in the pipeline, maybe on different aspects, maybe on the plastics, in the similar way, on the forest, on the woods, or on various types of other metals which we are using. How all of them have a concept which is revolving around what we call circular economy, and based on that specialization, many books will come in. So book reviews, many a times we are not having time to read the whole book. An abstract of the book in the form of book review, if that is also learned by students and faculty alike, it's very useful. And someone who is deeply interested in that field, he may go into that book and then read it completely. But at least getting a holistic view of circular economy was the need of the hour, and continuous changes that are happening in the world around in terms of circular economy, India should not be left behind. And I'm very happy and significant that the first of its kind journal on circular economy has come from India now. And our viewers, those who are attending today, those who view this on YouTube later, they will get inspired to look at this particular journal and then contribute towards its even better and better. With these few words, I compliment both ICC and IPI for initiating this, and Dr. Pankaj Mittal for supporting this initiative by writing the preface, and all the viewers who came today on this online platform to learn about it in more detail. Thank you very much. Namaskar.
Thank you so much, sir, for your very inspiring and kind words. And we're very grateful to you that you're always very supportive to us. So thank you so much for your valuable time and presence today. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to welcome our honorable guest of honor, Dr. Mrs. Pankaj Mittal, Secretary General of the Association of Indian Universities, AIU. AIU, she is the second women secretary general of the association in its 96 years of existence. And prior to joining AIU, she has been serving the higher education sector, especially university education, for more than 3 decades at the apex regulator of higher education, the University Grants Commission of India. So thank you for joining us, ma'am. It's an honor to have you with us today. We shall be glad to have the opportunity of listening to your perspectives on the journal and what role can universities play in circular economy research. So over to you now.
Okay. Thank you, Susanna. Thanks for a kind introduction. And thanks to most honorable chairman of AICTE, Professor Anil Sahasrabudhe, for his kind words. And he has already spoken about what is the implication and what will be the benefits of this journal to the society and the academic community at large. So what I feel about circular economy is that the concept is very good. It's very sought after in most of the countries, but in India, this concept, though practiced for a long time, for example, in the rural household, circular economy is practiced for a long time, but the concept of circular economy was almost unknown to people. So when Shalini ji came to me that we want to talk about circular economy and we have an international council on circular economy, so I myself was wanting to know what is circular economy and the details about it. And when she explained, we did realize that this is a very, very important concept, and especially the West needs to learn from India. Because the way we adopt circular economy, recently my daughter has gone to UK and she was showing me that one meal which they take, how much of waste is generated in that meal in terms of packaging and all. I mean, if you order one meal, so much of waste is generated in that meal. But in India, nothing such thing happens, especially in the rural economy. So the circular economy is a concept which is already being practiced, but we need to make people aware of it. So therefore, in collaboration with ICCE, we held a webinar for all our universities to make them understand about the circular economy. We did tell them that the linear economy which we are following right now is based on the concept of take, make and waste, which is totally reversed when we talk of circular economy, where nothing is a waste. Everything becomes a resource. Everything, whatever we use, becomes a resource for the next product. So that is something which is very great, and we are thankful to ICCE and Shalini ji for making our institutions aware of the circular economy through this program. She also gave me a book on circular economy, of course, the book which Professor Anil Sahasrabudhe was also talking about. So it was a really a sort of, I should say, eye-opener, very, very good book. But the latest thing which came to us was that this year we are holding all our conferences. In AIU, we hold something like 6 conferences a year, 5 zonal and 1 national conference. And this year we thought that the theme of the conference would be realizing SDGs through HEIs, because we felt that the HEIs have a responsibility to contribute towards the realization of all the SDGs, not only SDG 4, which is relating to education, but all the 17 SDGs. So 4 conferences are already over. So in 4 conferences, 4 SDGs each means 16 SDGs are over. 1 regional will be having on SDG 4, especially because that is relating to education. And the main conference will be considering all the 17 SDGs. So in all the 4 SDGs, whatever was the SDG, we did realize that circular economy was a part of every SDG. Whether we talk about SDG 1, which relates to no poverty, SDG 2, which talks about zero hunger, SDG 3, which talks about good health, well-being, every SDG, each and every conference for any type of SDG, any SDGs means of all the 17, the concept of circular economy was inherent. Without circular economy, SDGs cannot be attained. So now, Shalini ji, we are also making a very big report on how higher education institutions can contribute in realizing SDGs, in which we will be saying how SDGs can be implemented within the campuses, how SDGs can be implemented outside the campuses, but the higher education institutions can contribute by way of policy research. They can create even the awareness among the students and the sensitization among the students about these SDGs. But everywhere, whenever any SDG is talked about, whenever the report talks about the realization of any SDG, circular economy will be a part of it. So if you want to contribute in that particular report by way of having an article on circular economy, or by way of telling us in recommendations that what should be recommended for the higher education institutions to promote circular economy, you are most welcome. But then, of course, hats off to you for promoting the concept of circular economy. And this journal will be something which will be adding a feather to the cap, because now people will be having a place where they can give articles on circular economy, they can do research on circular economy, they can publish articles. And if you want to see some article on circular economy, at one place you'll be able to see the quality articles in circular economy. And I understand you are paying a lot of attention to ensure that the quality of the journal is maintained, and that is of paramount importance, because if the journal quality is lost, everything is lost. And I'm also sure that this journal will very soon find a place in the UGC care list, and it will be a most refereed and most highest impact factor journal in the field of circular economy. So all my best wishes to both of you, the International Council for Circular Economy as well as Indian Plastic Institute. Sriman Banerjee is there for starting this concept, for launching this journal, and I'm sure you will do it with regularity, with efficiency, and with a lot of quality. All the best to you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your best wishes, and we're looking forward to the report, and we hope that the journal is able to make such an impact. Thank you. It is now time for me to welcome the co-editor of the journal, Mr. Sriman Banerjee. Sriman has over 15 years experience in the field of plastics and packaging, having worked with Reliance Industries, Marico, and Johnson & Johnson. Currently, he's working as head of packaging development and commercial device engineering at Takeda. Sriman is a mechanical engineer with a master's in packaging from Indian Institute of Packaging and a postgraduate in plastic technology from Indian Plastics Institute. So over to you, Sriman.
Thank you, Shazana. Good morning and welcome to the first journal on circular economy, a joint publication between ICCE and IPI. At the outset, I would like to thank our guests, Professor Anil Sahasrabudhe, Dr. Pankaj Mittal, Dr. Pooran Pandey, and Dr. Shilpi Kapur for joining us in this inauguration. And thank you to all the invites today for joining today's session. I will briefly speak about IPI and ICCE and introduce both the organizations to all of you. ICCE is one of the largest international network for professionals, corporates, and organizations working in the circular economy. Their mission is to accelerate the transition to a circular economy that is restorative and regenerative by design. ICCE aims to build a resilient and thriving local network by providing expertise to design and strategize circularity emanating from the grassroots level. They envision to redefine lives by embracing and spreading change globally to make the dawn of a new circular era. ICCE has been launched in 2020 to accelerate the transition to a circular economy in India. ICCE is a global thought leader establishing the circular economy on the agenda of corporates, decision makers across the business, government, and academia. A member of Ellen MacArthur community, they have partnered with European Environmental Bureau, Revolve Circular, Prevent Waste Alliance, ISO BIS, OCCE, Close the Loop, along with other major organizations working towards boosting circularity. ICCE bridges this gap and establishes strong connections amongst the circular economy community to share best practices and try our best to have an impact at a local and global level simultaneously. We facilitate planning circular economy strategies, knowledge share through workshops and webinars, supporting organizations to implement circular practices. A little bit about Indian Plastic Institute. Indian Plastic Institute is a technical professional body registered in April 1985 under the Societies Registration Act 1860 and subsequently under the Public Trust Act 1950. IPI was formally inaugurated on 6th May 1985 after taking over the Plastics and Rubber Institute, London PRI India section as of 30th April 1985. Which established in June 1963 as an overseas section of Plastic Institute, London. Today, IPI is a strong professional body of industrialists, plastic technologists, academicians, economists, and students spread over 14 chapters across India and 2 overseas associations in partnership with Sri Lanka and Nepal. We are engaged in education, training, manpower development, and dissemination of knowledge on the latest technical developments in the worldwide plastic industry. The contribution of IPI within the context of the Indian plastic industry is quite unique, organizing technical programs throughout the country, including conferences, seminars, lectures, and workshops, in addition to its educational program and activities. IPI play a vital and complementary role to universities and other educational institutes in drafting course curricula, providing visiting faculty, facilities through its members, and arranging industrial training for students. In keeping with this, IPI is represented on the Governing Council of Central Institute of Plastics Engineering and Technology, CPIT. IPI also represented in Bureau of Indian Standards for promotion of standardization and testing and quality control procedures. So why the journal on circular economy? As we heard from our guest few minutes back, the importance of circular economy is felt now more than earlier on multiple fronts. We see depletion of non-renewable resources, and it is said most materials at current consumption level will last for just about 100 years. So many of the materials which we use today and many of the products which we use today may not be available in the long term in the current scenario. The other most important issue is waste management and the role circular economy plays in recycling and reuse. The inaugural issue of the journal covers articles covering all aspects, and we are thankful to Mr. Amitabh Kant for his interview, Dr. Vasudevan for his article on circularity, and we have policy reviews as well as book reviews included in this issue of the journal. The journal is specifically devoted towards policy research and innovation. And we look forward for your feedback as well as your articles and research papers to be published in the next issue of the journal, which is going to be around June-July timeframe. So with that, thank you once again, and over to you, Susanna.
Thank you so much, Sriman, for introducing the organizations and your kind words. I would now like to invite our mentor and member of the advisory committee, Mr. Pooran Chandra Pandey. Pooran currently serves as a member of the board, United Nations World Food Programme Trust, with concurrent appointment as resident representative, Climate Scorecard, US. Previously, he served as CEO of an international research institute in Berlin, as Executive Director, United Nations Global Compact India, and Director, Times of India Group, among others. So, Pooran sir, I would like to thank you for sparing time for this launch today. And we would like to hear your perspective on the journal and how important and how relevant it is internationally.
Thank you very much, Sujana, and I'm very pleased to be able to contribute to this launch program of the journal. I think as Honorable Chairman of AICTE and Madam Pankaj Mittal, they both have spoken adequately, elaborately about journal and what needs to happen and so on and so on forth. So what I'm really going to be doing is, given a little bit of background and experience that I have, let me try and paint a little picture about circular economy, what is happening around the world, what is happening in India, and what needs to happen further. So give me that privilege of sparing some 10 minutes and paint a picture. First of all, I would really like to congratulate the Council for being thoughtful and imaginative to be able to take up this whole theme of circular economy. If I could probably say that countries around the world, and especially when we put them in sockets of which country, which region, which part of the world they belong, their experience, their thoughtfulness, their action, the community that they serve, those are all very different and differentiated kind of parameters. So therefore, like anything in our lives, circular economy is not one size fit all kind of thing. So for example, in South Pacific, if we look at Tonga, which is about 100,000 people, a small island, to India, which is a democracy, which is a thriving, diverse country and economy with over 1.3 billion people, our realities, our experience, and our action on circular economy, like anything and everything else, is going to be very unique and very differentiated. So we should start with a presumption that we are all together, but we are all at different levels of experience and learning and action, therefore. And that is a starting point. We should also recall what really happened way back in 1972, when Swedes went to the UN and they said, we need to really do something whereby we could figure out how human beings are interfacing with the environment. UN, as a multilateral system then and more now, failed to take note of it. So Swedes had gone to UN, I think, way back in 1966. UN took 6-7 years more before they convened the famous Stockholm conference. And this conference was all about talking, debating, dialoguing about how humans interface with the nature and environment. And that was a kind of a beginning of the talk at multilateral platform, which was the UN, and India has been a member of the UN right from the day one. So India also contributed to that conference, and then the things sort of moved. Then the whole idea was that how will UN take this whole idea and agenda forward? And then there's a talk that, look, we need to have a very, very specialized agency within the UN, and we need to set it up. And then again, it was a multilateral thing. Dialogue went on. UN again took some 22 years from 72 before it could set up UNFCCC, which was, set up in Europe, and they have been doing a great job, as we all know. And that was the beginning of the debate on human interface with the climate and environment. Later on, when the UNFCCC was set up, then the climate issue took a little more precedence with regard to what climate could do to everything around us, including the misery and the hardship for the human beings. And then we slowly and gradually came to the year 2000 when we had MDGs. It was all about deepening development within the framework of climate and environment and the ecosystem. And then in 1992, and I was a party to it, when we met in Rio to sort of review MDGs and what will happen when MDGs expires in 2015, then we began to talk about sustainability. So we began to sort of transition from development, human interface with the climate, deepening development within the context of environment, sustainability. And then by the time we had SDGs in 2015, and I was also the part of the Secretary General's high-level panel for Asia Pacific, which was led by Abhijit Banerjee, who was a Nobel laureate, my senior from JNU. And I had that chance and opportunity to be able to contribute to what could probably SDGs look like when we launch it in 2015. And then in 2015, we had Climate Paris Agreement. And the role of India at the global level began to emerge, because that was a year when India influenced the global community, not only to look at climate and this and that, but India said we need resilient infrastructure. India said we need more of the solar energy. And I'm very happy to sort of bring it to the notice of our listeners and our colleagues that India now leads International Solar Alliance, which is a treaty-based organization out of Gurgaon. So we as a country should take a lot of pride in what India is doing now. So India is no longer talking about climate, but it is leading the collective climate partnership-driven action on the ground for the world at large. And we would all know that Americans very recently joined the International Solar Alliance. So we are really leading the talk from the front now. So now let me go a little down. We all know COP26 happened in Glasgow, and again, I had some role to play there. And India committed, and there was a lot of criticism for India globally. But when Prime Minister Modi, in his true leadership style, announced both at G20 in Rome and then COP26 in Glasgow, that was the moment of reckoning for India. India arriving at the global world stage with no less than Prime Minister of the country telling the world at large that India will do the following. It will cut emissions by half by 2030. It will lead renewable energy revolution in the world. And by 2070, we will become carbon neutral. That was a moment of reckoning for India, for the world at large. And India is seen to be leading that climate action multilaterally, bilaterally with countries. This is how it is all going in. Second thing, India realizes pretty well that circular economy cannot be handled by economists alone. It's a social sciences issue. It is a matter as much of history, as much as it a matter of economy and lifestyle and sustainability and so on and so on forth. So our Prime Minister has said it. Look, whatever we do in our lives, of course, it is climate change, it is sustainable development, it is all about it. But more than anything else, it is all about sustainable lifestyle. And we cannot handle climate change unless we really begin to live a life which is sustainable and more resilient. And while we talk about these two things, amongst everything else, three things become very, important for us to remember. And the one is that how do we really go about doing it? Policies, frameworks, the role of the government, that is all very, very important. Second important part is how do we really educate our youth? And India is a country which has more than 335 million youth, and Chinese are behind us. They are roughly about 300 million, followed by Indonesia and the US. So we need to really educate our children in the school, children in the college, in ways that it is sustainable, it is seamless, we do not really miss the bus. And these people, when they come out of the school, go to the college, they will begin to live a life on a scale which is resilient, sustainable, and they will begin to interact more sustainably with the climate, with the environment, with the ecosystem at large. And finally, we need to remember that we also need to probably think through that the time has come, while India is taking the lead, India may consider as a country, and this is where the role of AIU and AICTE comes in, and that role is to find a platform, find a way out, and see to it as to how could India, because we will move pretty quickly into taxonomy now. And taxonomy means that classification system where we could probably identify sectors and areas and themes which are more sustainability driven, which are more sustainable on scale and economy, and try and take a lot of effort to address those issues from circular economy point of view. Which means circular economy is nothing but how do we really use a product, how do we really use a service, how do we really use the goods in ways that it is not really going to be thrown next year. So we are not really saying that we will not throw it, but then we need to put a lot of value to it so that, it sort of remains with us for a longer period of time, and that it is sustainable economically, environmentally, and from the point of view of the human sustainable lifestyle. Now, I'll end by saying three things pretty quickly. One, that while we are taking that lead globally, we need to consider doing three things. One, that we need to have a toolkit, because we could probably go out and tell people circular economy, nobody understands, and then we scratch our head and say nobody understands us. And so therefore we consider to have some kind of a toolkit. How do you really make things happen? That toolkit probably help everybody understand circular economy and what circularity is and what we could probably do with it. This is number one. Number two would be that how do we really, and since we have Dr. Mittal and Honorable Chairman, I would even go a step further and say that how do we really, and these are the two regulatory and semi-regulatory bodies, how do we really try and see to it, which is what Europeans and developed economies are very good at doing, which we have not been able to do so far. How do we really bridge scholarship, policy practice, and community engagement? Things will not happen unless we put the three things together somewhere in some form at one particular pedestal. And finally, we need to see that there will always be exceptions to the rule. If I were to really talk about solar panels, and I know for sure solar panels will produce renewable energy, which is very, very important, but you will fail to dispose it off in any easier way. I mean, solar panels, when they go out of the life cycle, they're like nuclear waste. You cannot do anything about it. So there will be exceptions to the rule when you talk about circular economy. And therefore, we need to seize the moment. India is leading it. from the front, both at multilateral levels and also bilaterally with several countries. And the time of reckoning for India is there, and we need to seize that moment and bring everybody together. Whoever could help and support and handhold and mentor, bring a journal out, write a report, write a book on circular economy. Everybody is welcome, but we really need to bring these people, these systems, policies, scholarship, practice of it, and then finally see to it that India does not only talk like everybody else, but India leads circular economy revolution from the front. So I'm thankful to the Council for inviting me, and I hope I could probably set some spotlight on where circular economy is and how India and India's moment of reckoning on the sun is already there. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Pooran sir, for your words, and you painted that picture very well. So thank you for that. And I would now like to invite one of the authors to talk about her experience, Dr. Shilpi Kapur. She's a trained economist and has over 12 years of research experience in the field of environment and natural resource management. Currently, she's the vice president at the Environmental Management Center. Over to you, Dr. Shilpi.
Thank you, Susanna. And I am honored to be part of this launch event. And in fact, earlier when I was in, I hope I'm audible. Okay. So earlier when I was invited, I had a clashing event and unfortunately was not able to join. But the moment I got a change in that event, I wrote to Shalini that I would like to be part of this event again. So thank you, Shalini. Thank you, Susanna. And it was a pleasure hearing all the esteemed speakers today. I, as an author of the journal, I would first say that I was privileged and I was honored to be invited to contribute to the journal. And that time when I was thinking about what to write, I in fact went online to check, are there actually any journals on circular economy? And I realized that there are none. So in fact, in December, there has been recently one launched on, which is I think called Circular Economy and Sustainability, but that also I think just has the first volume ready. But there are many journals on waste, there are many journals on environmental pollution. So I felt very happy that finally there's a journal which in the title Circular Economy is going to be out and by India. So again, another moment of honor to be part of that. In terms of being an author in the journal. So when I was approached, of course, I do write once in a while for journals and for other media and etc. So I said, okay, I will contribute, and I just wanted to get an idea how long an article. So the entire process initially itself was also very smooth. I mean, Suzanne and Shalini, they were very approachable, and then we got, at least I got to know what has to be written, what's the word limit, etc. And then, of course, given that it was coming from ICCE, which is now, one of the core organizations which is working on circular economy, is trying to push the agenda of circular economy in different ways, whether it's through dialogues, whether it's through their courses which they run. So the reputation of ICCE certainly was never into a question. So it was good. In terms of the focus of the journal, of course, now while during the event, I went online to also see the kind of gamut, how the journal has shaped up. And I think it really focuses on, it's a platform which is given opportunity to a research output to be getting shared. It's a platform which is given an opportunity for book review, for opinion pieces. There's also a lot of information about events and other things which are happening around circular economy. So that way, I think it's a very holistic approach which Shalini and the other co-editor have thought about to kind of take forward the journal's shape. In terms of, again, as an author, one of the questions which one always have, what is going to be the turnaround time? If you submit an article, how early are you going to get feedback and how soon can it get published? So I think there too, the turnaround time was very fast. I managed to get feedback very quickly. In fact, I took time and I had to request Shalini, the editor, for extra time to submit the revised article, which also they were very accommodative. So, thank you for that. And in terms of the peer review, which is, I think, the most important aspect, which is associated with the journal, is the peer review. So honestly, again, to share, when I was submitting, I thought, okay, it's a new journal. I'm sure they will have a review process, and knowing Shalini a bit, I realized, I knew that things would be, there would be depth into it. But when I received the feedback on my article, I mean, it was a short article, I think, about 2,000 or 3,000 words. I realized that it was a review which matched the standards of an article which is going to be submitted to, say, a pure academic journal. So, I mean, I was really impressed. I mean, I realized that probably I should have checked with Shalini that could I have earlier in itself to submit a maybe larger research piece, because if it would be going through that kind of a peer review process, I mean, it really added credibility to the whole thing. So I was really, really happy with the kind of review which I received. And then in fact, to address that review, it took me time. And as I said, I had to ask for extra time. So that too kind of strengthened the whole, it added strength to the journal. In terms of, given that I was an author and I would like to contribute in future too, I mean, just few suggestions to you, Shalini and the co-editor, that maybe we could also think about subsequent volumes, say one, I don't know what's the frequency you're targeting, but maybe volumes could also focus on specific themes, especially given that circular economy has linkages with a lot of other sustainability thematics. Like as of now, I myself are working a lot on the linkages between circular economy, net zero, decarbonization. So if we kind of have thematic coverage also, I think that would really enhance the knowledge sharing aspect. And given that people now need to look at these interlinkages, these multiple objectives together, I think we could use this as a platform to foster that. In terms of the other suggestion which I had was that given, Dr. Mittal has already highlighted how the journal would also be shared with the universities. So I think that would be really great. But even in the courses which you conduct, I mean, you should certainly use this as a knowledge product, which the students should refer to, both in terms of learning on research pieces, on case studies, as was mentioned. So I think this should be really used by your courses and maybe other courses which are offered on the topic of circular economy. So this could become one of the references to be looked at. And I think the other point which I wanted to share now, in the latest budget speech, it was highlighted that one needs to facilitate innovation. So given that you would try to also, I mean, I can already see the linkages with the higher educational institutions. So I think a lot of research around and innovation which happens there, the journal could provide a platform to share that research, share that innovative pieces, and kind of facilitate the whole innovation aspect. So kind of also help us achieve that objective. So, I mean, these are things which I had wanted to share. So all the best, and I look forward to contributing even longer articles, pure research pieces through this platform. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shilpi, for your kind words and for your suggestions as well. And thank you again for your contribution to the journal. And we look forward to future association with you as well. At last, it is now time for me to invite the Managing Director of ICCE, Shalini Goyal Bhalla. I don't think I need a long introduction for her, so I would just say that she has been the backbone throughout this journey. And Shalini ma'am, congratulations on the launch of the journal. And I'll hand over the floor to you now.
Thank you, Susanna. I hope I'm audible. I have a bad internet connection today, though. Thank you. Thank you, everyone who's made this possible today. Thank you, Anil sir, for being a part of this launch. Pankaj ma'am, for your kind words. Pooran, our co-editor, Sriman, Shilpi, thank you for sharing your experiences and the background of the journal. Starting a journal that focuses on policy, research, and innovation in this domain was a dream. So today is definitely a landmark for us in our journey. It is a great challenge to bring a new journal, especially when journals aim to publish very high quality manuscripts. Despite these challenges, the journal on circular economy aims to provide readers with high quality articles on a wide variety of issues, which are related to research studies in areas such as circular economy, resource efficiency, material recovery, sustainability, and education in sustainable development. So ma'am, when you referred about how the colleges and higher education was talking and how circular economy is embedded with all SDGs, 17 of them, I think it is music to my ears, because we are wanting to facilitate that and work on that for a long time. So any which way, be it the article or any kind of a contribution that the council could make to your efforts, we'll be very happy to collaborate on that. I'm extremely delighted on the council and IPI taking yet another important step in research in this relatively new domain. The council has done wonderful work and has emerged as a thought leader in circular economy in India, and that is a good news. Thanks to Professor Anil Sahasrabudhe and Dr. Pankaj Mittal for releasing and the best wishes to the journal. I would like to thank Mr. Amitabh Kant, who could not make it today, but for taking out time despite his busy schedule for the interview. A special thanks to Mr. Pandey, Edward Clarence Smith, and Dr. Radhakrishnan, all authors, our editorial board, working committee, who have contributed to make this edition a success. This also calls for highlighting the contribution of our reviewers for their time and effort for critically reviewing each and every article multiple times. In the coming years, it is my vision to make it most authoritative journal and publish a combination of manuscripts documenting technical studies, policy reviews, high quality research papers, along with business cases across the globe. I request the academia and industry to be part of our journey and contribute to enable a transition towards a circular future. Once again, I thank everyone who has contributed to make this happen. Enjoy reading the journal. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Shalini, and I would like to wish the journal all the success. And once again, I would like to thank all of you for your valuable presence today. But before we end, I would like to bring to your notice about ICC's upcoming conference in the month of June, India Circular Economy Forum, or as we call it, ICEF 2022, shall take place in 2nd and 3rd June at the Indian Habitat Center, New Delhi. This forum shall feature a futuristic approach for stakeholders to build and scale a circular economy by providing a platform to share insights, network, and learn from other circular economy practitioners. In fact, I would love to show a short video, so just let me play it for all of you.
Our world is only 8.6% circular. Global warming is happening. The pandemic has aggravated the problem. The whole world is trying to find solutions. A rapid transition to a circular economy is important to support the sustainable recovery of our economy. Deep dive into why and how circular economy can help rebuild resilience in the economy at India Circular Economy Forum, ICEF 2022. International Council for Circular Economy brings the first edition of India Circular Economy Forum. 2 days of information, action, ideas, and examples. 16 sessions, 60 plus speakers, 150 plus corporates, 5 ministries, over 200 decision makers. Be a part of transformational changes and systemic thinking. Build courageous collaborative partnerships. Join us at ICEF 2022.
Yeah.
Susanna, we actually missed you in between, so.
Right. Did the video finish?
No.
No. Okay. I'm so sorry about that.
Can you play it from the middle, I think, just very quickly?
Sure.
Economy Forum. 2 days of information, action, ideas, and examples. 16 sessions, 60 plus speakers, 150 plus corporates, 5 ministries, over 200 decision makers. Be a part of transformational changes and systemic thinking. Build courageous collaborative partnerships. Join us at ICEF 2022.
Right. So I'm so sorry about the internet connection. Anyways, we are very excited about ICEF 2022, and you'll get further information on our website as well. And I'm sure this will be a great platform for many of us to connect together and share our views on circular economy. So once again, thank you so much to all of you. Have a very good day ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you, Susanna. Thank you, Shalini. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very
Thanks a
much.
lot. Thanks a lot for inviting.
Okay,
Thank you,
welcome.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Shriman. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your time.
Oh, come on. That's our pleasure. Okay.
Thank you,
you.
sir. Thank you.